Let's get your thoughts on Armada, actually. It just got announced that he will be inducted in the Esports Hall of Fame. Why don't you just give us some comments about him as an opponent over the years and now seeing him as a commentator on the scene?
I mean, he's by far the most deserving of that award out of anyone. You can go ahead and try to pull up any mathematics or any logic and reason as to who should be the greatest player of all time, and it's always him. Losing to only 6 players, maybe 6 or 7, I believe, his entire career in Melee since 2000 and I believe 2010. Winning countless nationals, having very, very large win streaks, and the amount of dominance he did it so, and with Peach with a Fox secondary, makes it all the much more impressive. So it really, really is good. But also, I'm appreciative of that esports panel for allowing a Melee player to have that chance, because a lot of the times in console gaming, you focus on a lot of other ones, maybe shooters, maybe other fighting games, and yet Melee, as old as it is, still has a very profound appreciation for the amount of time and skill put into it. So it was a really, really good thing to see, and Adam obviously deserves it very, very much.
So with his absence, and then people like Mewtwo King sort of abstaining from competing as frequently in Melee, this has been an interesting year for Melee, a bunch of different interesting top 8s, but we also saw some top players, Plup and others, sort of take a little bit of a break from Melee to focus on Ultimate. Do you feel like now, as we head into the fall and Big House this weekend, that some of your other peers that are the top players in Melee are taking Melee more seriously again, and do you think we'll sort of see some of those other players place highly again, or do you think we'll see much of the same we have throughout the year?
I really think it depends on the player that you're talking about. There could be split focus depending on how much time someone's putting into it. Obviously, Plup's getting pretty good at Ultimate. He had an amazing run at EVO also. But I do think at the same time, the games are different enough where if you put the right amount of time into it and segment off yourself, you should still be okay. And the argument that putting too much time into Ultimate might hurt Melee, I don't really agree with that. It's weird. Like, I was playing a bunch of Ultimate this year. Obviously, I'm not like a top-ranked player by any means in that game, but in some ways, I think it actually helped me in my neutral in Melee, because neutral in that game is so much more emphasized. And they have guys like Leffen, who, arguably top 3, top 2 in Melee, great runs this year too, and, making definitely a splash in the Ultimate scene as well, beating a slew of top players. So it really depends on the work ethic and depends on what your priorities are. But I think it's slowly getting to the time over when the more results that you see that you can actually balance both games in terms of putting practice to the time. Most notably, we saw Wizrobe, Smash and Splash, win the Melee singles event, get top 8 in Ultimate when that was unprecedented. That was phenomenal. And, funnily enough, there was a Smash 64 event there as well. And they were saying that had he entered that as well, he was actually also projected to win that. So we're entering a new time in Smash where you can now truly be a jack of all trades if you put in the right amount of time. And it's a really, really cool thing to see, because you can appreciate skill from one Melee player and how they adapt to these very, very different environments, these different physics in these Smash games, different approaches, different punishes, just different matchups altogether. So much knowledge they need to have, and yet they always manage to execute it.